Okay, so
Dial Steve's number.
Dial Steve Mason.
So funny you should say that. You know, every year I'm kind of keen soaring pilot, everyone knows, and I'm always out there and hoping that the weather will support some flying. And there seem to be just a couple of categories of folks in this club. One category is the folks who take some time to look at the weather and look at the forecast and come to their own conclusions. Use that as a basis for whether or not they're going to come out to the field. There's the other category, which is probably about 99% of you, who either call me up and say, "Are you going to the field?" or they hang out near the field and see if Mason drives down the road. So what I want to do here is give you the opportunity to learn 2 simple steps. That's all you have to do with Cass's fantastic software that he's been working all winter on.
Thank you.
Well done.
We now have RASP forecasts for not just North Plains, but really the whole of the valley and the Coast Range. And the significance of that is that I think RASP is a better resolution forecasting model that Dr. Jack came up with, but it has to be run for specific local areas. And in my opinion, it's probably the best forecasting tool that's available to soaring pilots today. And so we really have the bleeding edge available to us, thanks to Cass. Now we get to see if it works, bumped up against the weather, and I hope that it will. So I had a little trouble shrinking these things down to the size that I wanted, so bear with me here.
Steve, can you use the presentation?
Yeah.
Well, I can't, no. Yeah, but there's a problem, so bear with me. Can everyone read that or not? Okay, so I want to talk about, first of all, just how to navigate the screen so you know what to do once you go to the website. Just a real simple thing to talk about that. And to answer the question of should I fly today, is it worth flying? And that'll be in 2 easy steps, which all of you can handle, believe me. You can do it.
Yeah, but pushing speed dial for Mason is only 1 step.
Yeah, but I don't have to answer the phone again. So I'm going to show something. It turns out, actually, that this past Sunday, I don't know if you noticed, but it was a really active day from a convective standpoint. So I pulled off some plots from Kaz's tool from Sunday, so I'll show you how it relates to an actual day, and maybe that will help explain things. And then I'm going to talk about how this tool can be used to kind of get a picture, not just of how the day is going to begin, but how it's going to progress through the day. And this tool will give you that. So, the 2 simple steps. Shortly I'll show you the screen that you'll see on the internet when you go to the link. It's 2 parameters. They're highlighted right there in front of you. They've tried to make it as simple as possible. And there's probably 4 or 5 in their simple list of parameters. You only really need to look at 2 of them. It's not a perfect result, but it'll get you 99% of the information, I think. What you want to look at is the cumulus cloud base when there's a potential for cumulus that's greater than 0. So what it's really saying is, if there is Q that crops up, this is what the cloud base will be. If you don't see Q, then you need to step back and you need to look at what's called H crit. H crit is the height that you can climb to, given the sink rate of your glider. And it assumes 175 feet per minute. So if you're worse than that, adjust accordingly. If you're better than that, you can adjust. So H crit tells you how high you're going to climb if it's blue and there are no clouds. It would also tell you how high you're going to climb if there are clouds, but you may, of course, end up in the middle of the clouds. What's of more interest if there are clouds is cloud base. Did everybody see that? Or?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Cass, can I what's the point there? Okay, so this is the screen that you'll see when you go to the web page. And what we're looking for here is, let me just adjust that a little bit. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's cloud-based where Q potential is greater than 0. So you would just click on that, and then this plot would come up here, which is overlaid on Google Maps. We are about here somewhere.
Red circle, that is
Hillsborough.
Hillsborough.
Right, Hillsborough. So this is Hillsborough, which of course is north of it there. And you can, of course, everyone's familiar with Google Maps, I'm assuming, in that you can zoom in, you can put terrain on it. It's a super powerful tool. So really think of it just with Google as Google Maps with the RASP web data overlaid on top of it. So what you see here is the cumulus potential for, the cumulus cloud base, where for potential greater than 0. And the scale, we're kind of off the edge here. I'm going to see if I can pull that in a little bit. Okay. The transparency of this is adjustable so that you can see what's underneath it, so that you can see the map. But one effect of that is it's a little hard sometimes to kind of match these colors with these colors and read a number. So what you can do is you can move up to this little slider right here. Little slider, you can move that to the right, and the colors will become solid. You won't be able to see what's underneath just temporarily. However, it'll tell you exactly then what altitude you're getting. So you can see that for, I think this was noon on Sunday, there was Q forecast to be down to about Albany. The line here, where there is nothing here, means essentially that there would be no Q developing. So you probably wouldn't want to go down there. So look at that. Let's see what else. Oh, you can zoom in and out, standard Google Maps controls. Up here, you can pick a satellite view if you want that, or you can pick terrain. And that can be real useful if you zoom in, because you can see where the lift may be occurring relative to the terrain. This model has fine enough resolution where it ought to give us some clues with that, which previously has just been impossible because the computational resolution, am I right, Taz? Has been insufficient. So it's just kind of too much of a broad brush. Let's see. I think that's all on that one. So the next thing, so that's step 1. I've lost the mouse. So there it is, center globe. So now, the second parameter, we looked at the first one, which tells us, is there going to be Q? And if so, what's the cloud base? The next one is H crit, the height that you can climb to, given the sink rate of your glider. And what we see here is we're at somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 feet, somewhere in that area there. So we'll say 5,000. As you can see, there's quite a bit of lift around this kind of hole right here. So that's really all you have to look at. And that'll tell you whether or not you're going to, how high you're going to be able to climb, whether it's a clear day with no Q or there is Q. Eric.
For those of us with less than perfect color vision, is there another way to get the color vision?
Sorry, what was the question?
Well, Kerry has a problem with color blindness, so his question was, is there an alternative to this that would enable him to read it
Spouse.
accurately?
Call Steve.
I think you're on step 1. Yeah. I'll certainly be happy to hear it.
So is there something that tells you rising airspeed?
There is, well, thank you. So this tool will tell you orders of magnitude more information than I've mentioned here. I simply tried to give the Willamette Valley Soaring Club default simple steps. Yes, you can also find lift. Now, if I had internet access here, I could show you all this stuff, and I'd be happy to sit down with you offline and run through them all. But there are many different things you can do. Probably more information with this tool, different parameters than we've had available before with Dr. Jack's other tools. So you can find out lift, you can find out convergence, which is the one that really excites me, because in the past, the convergence has been useless because of the resolution that we have available. But now, when this is like a strong west wind, it's awesome. You can see the lift being caused by the ridges. And you can actually correlate the ridges with Google Maps with the lift that you see. So that's particularly relevant, I think, Van, for the convergence that we see going down the coast range. I hope that it will work out. We'll see. Yes. Well, let me just continue with this. Maybe we can continue after. Okay, so let me just point out a couple of things here. So these are just like stripped down parameters to make it easy for folks that you see right here. You can also click right on this button here, press for full parameter set, and it'll bring up many more parameters available to you. Probably most folks in here aren't interested in that, but if you are, then let me know, and we can cover that. Now also, if you don't understand what a particular parameter is or what it means, right underneath here is a description of exactly what it means. So as you click on these different items in this list, right here will give you help. It'll tell you exactly what you're looking at, which I think is quite useful. One other thing I wanted to point out is these red dots that you see here. These are points that we've selected to provide soundings. So you'll see a, help me out, what are they called? Plots? SQTs. So you'll see SQTs at each of these red dots.
Just click on them.
You can either click on those, or there's actually a list of them down here. So if you scroll down here in the scroll bar, you see a list of the
Currently 10 pointed I assigned it. However, it can be up to the 15. So if you want it, I can add up to 5.
Right, and it was sort of arbitrary. I think Kaz asked me for a list, so I just kind of threw a list at him. If you folks think that we should have some different soundings in different locations, we can do that.
If you go and change those parameters, when you come back to this, will you have those parameters there, or will you have to reset them again, the adjustable parameters? So if I go in there and set it
If
up.
you look at Cumulus Cloud Base, and then you want to look at a different parameter, you
Well-
just jump from one to the other.
No, what I'm saying is, you were talking about the parameters for the aircraft? For the
175 foot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And it sounds like there's some other parameters in there that you can change as well. If somebody goes in there and changes those. what
No,
would-
no, no, no. That is set by the program.
So each time.
175 feet per minute is simply a way of, you have to pick a number, right? And
Right.
they picked 175 feet per minute. You can't pick it.
You can't change it.
I think there is one other, I think it's 225 feet per minute.
Okay, so these parameters that you were talking about, you can go in and you can adjust? you can-
No, no.
You can't. You
When I
cannot.
say parameters, maybe that's a misleading term. What I'm calling a parameter would be average wind, or surface wind, or max up-down convergence. It's just the name of the thing that you're looking at,
The options.
the option.
Okay,
Better choice.
okay.
Okay, so there's the help there. Kaz, is there anything I haven't really mentioned here, you think? Oh, yes. So right here, the times through the day, starting at 0900, going up through, I think, 1600. I don't think it goes any later than that.
Yeah, I tried to compute 1700, 1800 up to 1800. I couldn't. I tried a couple of
Yeah,
times.
well, actually, I think practically speaking, we don't care. If we can see what the afternoon's doing up through 4 o'clock, I think it gives me a pretty good picture of what's going on.
Okay.
Will it compensate for daylight savings time?
Daylight saving time?
Yeah, after the March 23rd or something, I'm going to modify.
Okay, so are there any questions on the two simple steps? You can ask me later if you're embarrassed. Okay, so there's another item. This is not in the simple steps. This is just an interest item for everybody. This is max up-down motion, which is the name he gives to convergence. So it's when air masses collide with each other or something, or some object like a hill, and produces lift or sink. And you can see that we're following, I think this was a wind coming from about this direction, from the northwest. And what this is going to be useful for is figuring out if these lines, given the wind and the air masses, the red lines will hopefully line up a bit better in the north-south direction, which would give us, tell you that maybe on that day, we're much more able to fly all the way to Eugene because we're seeing convergence. So I'm hoping that this is something that we haven't had before that will really change what we do.
Dr. Jack doesn't have this. I've never seen it. I've never seen this.
Well, he has convergence, but it's not really presented in a way that I find useful at all. And it's on such a gross, large scale that we're right now. But this is what we used at Montague in the contest, and it was, I thought, pretty remarkable the way that the convergence lines were predicted throughout the day. You know, they'd say, well, there's going to be convergence going from Mount Shasta to northeast for 20 miles, and sure enough, when you got there, there was lift for 20 miles. Do you agree, Craig? I mean, it was quite useful. And this is the same tool, so let's hope that it transfers to it.
Does this translate into the cloud street? From this?
Convergence is not a cloud street.
It's not a cloud street, however, it may trigger thermals, I believe, that could produce a cloud street. So yeah, maybe, but not always.
The conversion can produce cloud street and the light, the moisture, and the air you produce.
Yeah, but not necessarily. It may not be strong enough. You'll notice that the scale here only goes up to 60 feet per minute at the moment. So on this particular day, I don't think that there was any convergence that would help us a great deal.
Hello. What's up?
That's a little hard to see, but one thing that I think is rather nice.
Stand.
Yeah, let me do that.
What's the problem? Which the top RPM.
Okay, so can you see the lines?
Oh, okay. All right.
When you look at it on a computer in front of you, it's much better. You know, it's a beautiful depiction of what the wind is going to be doing, and you can see it for the boundary layer. The boundary layer is the turbulent air going from cloud base up to the top of the clouds, essentially. Excuse me, below cloud base. It's the lift. So you can see boundary layer winds. You can also see surface winds at 1 meter, I think, and 2 meters. So you can. The thing about this that I like is I can look at that and just instantly get a picture of almost the whole soaring area of what the wind's going to be doing. Which in the past I've always wondered, you know, you get points of information which I really useful.
You change through the time of the day to see.
Right. So again, yeah, I think did I mention that?
Yeah, exactly.
That you can, with all of these different parameters, it doesn't matter what you're looking at, you can look at it for different times of the day. And the way that you do that is you can just click your, see, I think it's left mouse button. If you just click it anywhere, it'll go to the next hour. So if you started at, say, 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock, then you would click it, go to 12, click it again, 1300, click it again, 1400, and so on and so forth. Pardon me. That's good because it will show you graphically exactly how it changes hour to hour. You can see a progression through the day, and I'll show you that here. What's that?
No, I didn't know that.
Let me change the scale. I've never, honestly, I've never really understood these damn SQTs very well myself. And it's only this year since I got a hold of this that I've started looking at it and going, oh, well, maybe that's how that works. And I've just had a blank spot there. I don't know why. But I know Craig likes it. But this is an example of the SQTs that are produced for each of these sort of arbitrary locations in the valley that we've picked. They're real nice. I don't understand all of them, but maybe Craig would like to stand up and.
We'll pass.
Okay.
You can spend a week on those things, actually.
I'm wondering how those SQTs are produced. Obviously, they're not real soundings. They're somehow synthesized.
They're interpolations.
They're part of the model, right?
Well, model
It's a
uses that.
sounding in the
Well,
model.
no, they are generated by the model. They're represented by the model.
Right, the data is out there from the soundings, and then the soundings are computed. It's like I say.
The soundings is one of the inputs to the model, but these aren't those soundings necessarily, I believe, right? These are actually a result of the computed data in the WRF model.
Horizontally, in this case, 1 kilometer is the mesh size, and vertically, like 2 meter, 5 meter, 10 meter, from very precise cutting to the large distance. So 1 kilometer, and 2 centimeter, 2 meter. In the computer, they have for each mesh they have a temperature, humidity, and so on, and you taking this picture. So each mesh, pick each mesh and plot it.
So it's basically a volume of, I think of it as a kind of a bunch of numbers in a volume of space that represents the weather conditions, and these SQTs are derived from that. Now, the real SQTs generated from a balloon that the weather guys send up, that's probably one of the inputs for the raw data that the model uses. So what that means is that we can produce anywhere that's covered, we can produce a SQT for anywhere that the model covers. It doesn't have to be one of the actual sounding stations. Which, what is it, Salem, I think? Salem. Right. That's why you see multiple places here, and not one of them is Salem. Actually, that's what we should do, is we should make Salem one of them so we can look and compare it. Yeah.
Is there a way to tell on that whether that is from an actual sounding or other?
This is all model data. This is all
Will all
model.
be
This is all computed.
So these are not real.
No.
They're probably much closer to reality than the sounding that was taken at 5 a.m. at Salem.
Okay, so now what I'd like to just show you real quick is progression through the day on Sunday. And this is just an example of what you can do to see progression through time through the day. So this is the cumulus cloud base, the first of those two simple steps. And this first one is at, I think, what does it say, 11? 11, 12. And you can see the orange area, I think, is like 5,000 plus. And now we're at 1,300, 1,400, and it's starting to get a little weaker. Now you can see what's something's really happening by 4 o'clock. Now, to those of you who want to go cross country, this is sort of information that's very interesting and useful, because you want to know, when's the day going to die? You know, how far south can I go before I make a decision to turn around and hightail it home? You know, I want to hit it just right to use the conditions, but I don't want to wait too late so they end up in the dirt somewhere. So that's just an example of what you can do with the time element through the day. And you can do that with any of the parameters, whether it's this one or lift, cloud cover, whichever it might be.
Lift being up-down motion? The up-down?
That wasn't up-down motion, but you could do it with that. Any of these maps, the same principle applies. You can see the parameter for all the different hours through the day, from about 9 o'clock in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. Now this one is a factor that I didn't mention. It's relevant to Sunday. This is overdevelopment. So basically it's when the queues blow up and they start producing rain. And that's exactly what happened on Sunday at about 1, I think, or so. It was probably a day when I would have been awfully tempted to fly, but it was really iffy. And if you could have stayed in the lift areas and avoided the rain, then it might have been good, but odds are you would have gotten shot down by the rain. And this shows that it overdeveloped by about 2 o'clock, fairly well south. Overdevelopment is definitely something that, if you feel like looking at something more than the 2 simple steps, probably overdevelopment, I'd say, would be one of the next steps. And that's just so you can see how rain is being produced. There's probably some lift over there, but there's also a bit of rain, I think, and there's rain over here, and there's definitely rain here. That's looking up to the northeast of the field, looking east.
Actually, if you have that kind of heavy rain, usually front of the rain close by is a good lift.
Yeah, but also,
Yeah.
then if the only place you got to go is either into a rain shower or where the rain shower just was, you're screwed. And this is actually in Forest Grove looking towards David Hill. It's a little to the northwest, and the hills before Hag Lake right here. And you can see there's a pretty good rain shower right here. So you definitely wouldn't want to be flying.
And you got all those things from the model.
No, Dan, do I have to explain it? I've got one simple step for you. And then this is kind of the other side of the coin, taken at I simply turned around from the previous picture and shot to the south. And there, I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to go down there, right? You would, that's where you live, right?
Gorgeous.
So Sunday, it didn't rain on Sunday at your place?
Yeah, but that wind was whipping. There's a lot of wind.
So that's all I got. I hope that was some help.
Very good.
Okay, so I changed my phone number, by the way. So it's not
So what's the website?
Yeah, what's the website?
Cass is going to cover that.
Okay.
I just use it.
He's just teasing us.
So if you want to buy it,
There's a tutorial on that.
Well, a line like this seems to be a good thing.
So the RASP is generated by just an ordinary PC, my PC. However, it's just a i7 3 gigahertz, just ordinary. I installed the Zen virtualization software, which enabled to run the multiple operating system. This is my web server, and this guy generates and run a lot of floating point calculation. So web server and this. At 4 o'clock, lower side, NOAA.com, NOAA.gov, start producing the base data, which RASP based on, using the Salem skew data, and seems like a much bigger mesh, NOAA created data, base data. So those data is downloaded by this line. And this file, green file is downloaded. Then WRF preprocessing system. So it's a 3 command. Process this file and create a file. And then WRF, which is the Fortran program, big Fortran program, process the file to once again create another intermediate file. Downloading takes like a couple of minutes. This one takes 5 minutes. Actually, WRF divided into 2. The first one is real tool named real. It's very simple. And WRF takes like 30 minutes to 1 hour. It's a lot of floating point calculation. Finally, the command NCL produced the chart file. From the file, WRF created. For each hour, each NCL command is going to run, and using the make with -J command, this command is running in parallel. Each command takes like 15 minutes. If I run this in serial, takes like more than 2 hours or something. But the total time of generating the chart is like 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
So for each chart, it's 30 minutes.
20 minutes, 15 minutes.
That's each chart for each parameter.
No, each hour.
All parameters for each hour.
Yes.
Thank you.
So all of the chart is created for 1700, and then all chart created for 180.
Got it.
Just explanation of each command. From 4 o'clock PST, NOAA start creating the base data, and final base data is available about 6 o'clock PST. So after the 6 o'clock, 3 minutes, clean up the internal file and start generating the chart. So from no, not blackout time, even the 6 o'clock, no one cares today's data, right? And total time of generating the chart is 1 hour. So chart is available at 7 o'clock, 7:30, depending on what I am doing. If I am doing chatting computer. Yes.
No question. So, at the moment, I believe that the forecast is produced this evening for tomorrow.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. At the 7 o'clock or 7:30 evening, next day's prediction is ready, and chart.
Okay, and is that the only time that tomorrow's forecast is run?
Yes.
Okay.
So just about 2 hours of computation is required for generating the chart.
Okay. So, will it be possible to do a run either earlier in the day before, so that we can have some visibility early today for tomorrow?
No, because base data is available at 6 o'clock. So one possibility is, for example, using the 12 o'clock data and predict like a 20 hours of prediction.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a possibility, but I have never done yet. Okay.
So right now, I just want to make sure I understand. So if I want to go soaring the next day, I really need to look in the evening after about 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening to make a determination.
Chart is ready.
Right.
That's the first opportunity.
That's the first opportunity. Right.
But for example, if you go on a Friday, Thursday evening, you want to go to the fly on Sunday, that no, can't.
Well, you can go to the regular
It's good for
Dr.
Friday,
Jack.
right?
Excuse me?
On Thursday, you see the forecast for Friday.
Friday, yes.
Right.
On Friday, you see the forecast for Saturday.
Yes.
And so on.
Yes.
Now, is the Friday forecast, it's computed for the first time on Thursday evening. Is it run again using new data, like in the middle of the night or on Friday morning? Or do you only do one run the evening before for the next day?
NOAA create a base data for every 3 hours. So, for example, using the 7 o'clock data and create next day's data, next day's prediction. That's possible. But 2 days later or 3 days later, prediction is not accurate.
Okay, I think the question is, you do one at 6 o'clock. NOAA is going to give you more data or a new set of data 3 hours later.
The next day.
Not more data, or actually
Updated data.
accurate, up-to-date data, or accurate data.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, so Cass, here's my question. Do you think we would benefit from doing a run at 7 p.m. the night before, and then doing another run, say, early in the morning, so that we get the updated base data for the soaring day?
So, I'm create a prediction from 4 o'clock data. And you are saying that 7 o'clock data, using the 7 o'clock data, and predict tomorrow's
7 p.m.
chart, right?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, possible.
7 p.m. and then maybe 6 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Prediction is going to be more accurate.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yes, possible. But more computing power is required.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question, I think more simply, as I am. I want to fly tomorrow, Saturday. So at 7 o'clock, I go on and I look to see what it's going to look like. And I go, wow, it's going to look pretty damn good, I think. But I wonder how far south I can actually get. So at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, I look again. It's been updated. No.
That's the point.
Okay, one time.
So now my question is, are you physically having to put this in every time, or have you got your computer set up to do it automatically?
I once ran only one time in a day. So from 7 o'clock all day up to next 7 o'clock, the chart is saved.
Okay, that's not my question. My question is, are you physically doing this to create this every day?
He has a cron, that's what he's showing you right there.
Okay, so now that
I know where you're going with
now that we've established that there is an automatic way of doing it, then all we need to do is program it to do it again.
We need to give him more compute.
Okay, so what do you need? More computing?
I can donate a computer.
I at the end, I'm gonna tell you the problem of my computer. I mean, my computer sometimes shut down. Those problems that they have. So I'm gonna tell you about it.
Okay.
Guys, you take donate.
Okay. Next, is there any question?
No.
Okay. Next one is how I created or how I decided which area I want to make a prediction. This is a tool called Domain Wizard, and for example, click this one and expand, shrink, and I created area.
And that's on the NOAA site, so you can choose the data?
No, this is a local tool, and on my computer I created. And once created, no need to modify. For as long as nobody asks, I want to see best font or something.
How hard is that to change?
Takes.
It's a lot of work.
No. For me, within like 30 minutes, 1 hour at most.
But does the size of that area has a big effect on computation?
Yes.
So ideally, you want it as small as possible to where it's still.
Yeah, but 1 hour, 2 hours of computation is okay, right? One more, in addition to size, one more parameter for affect computing time is mesh size. Currently, 1 kilometer mesh. The smallest is 500 mil.
Think about it as a pixel.
You already know that. I put all of the source code for this is in when you click this two button, you will see this side. You will see what modification I made in the history, in the comment. And the files is here. You can see everything. The website side is here also. So this is the program. As I said, it's just my computer. And sometimes power failure. Or I want to shut down. So if you want that this site always up, always have a latest version, latest chart like you ask. I need very reliable computing system instead of my just beside of my computer. Two possibilities. One is the guy in France got the money, like $20,000 or something, and create a big cluster. And he is calculating the prediction for the entire Europe. He asked, is there anybody interested in to use this computer? So it's a free, but I don't know how to use it right now. The second possibility is Amazon Cloud Computing EC2. The data center is in Dallas or something. This is their price list. So maybe this one is good enough. So initial cost is $69, and every month for 2 hours of calculation, this amount of money is required. If you want more decent chart or something, for each calculation takes 2 hours. So 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, or 9 to 11. 2 hours for computation power is required.
So each run is 2 hours.
Yes, about up to 2 hours.
Yeah, approximately.
20
We're talking
cents.
about 20 cents, 20 cents.
20 cents a run.
20 cents a run.
Sign me up for a month. I'll pay for a
Sign me up
month.
for a
Well,
year.
Ted,
I'll throw in 60 bucks.
would you be able or willing to arrange this
That's
if we
for
decide we wanted to do it?
You mean arrange, what do you mean?
Well, how do we make this work? How do we implement it?
Uh-huh. Implement what?
How do we make this work? How do we get Amazon to
Have
do
your
it?
software loaded to a
Ah,
server.
I see. I know that what kind of system Amazon is using. So, and the system is just the same as mine. Just a little bit of modification. So, pay this one and send my hard disk image of RASP, send to them, done. So I can handle it. Yes.
So you're saying you can do that for $6 a month?
$70 a year and $6 a month.
I believe so. This is my estimate.
Well, I mean,
The board
certainly
vote on
the,
that?
certainly the club would pay for that.
Oh, let me try a couple of months.
You let us know and get back
And
to us, but,
if I find something difficulties, I'm going
okay.
It's 2 toes.
I expect some more modifications.
Okay, but if you get to that point where you want to use that, I think that's something the club would pay for.
The next one is this RASP is based on the this site. Some guy in England basically created almost the same one, and I got the permission to use his code. So when you click the specify task, you will set up the cross-country route or triangle. And when you click the track average pop-up, you will see this kind of chart, which tells you the in your route, on your route, what kind of thermal activity you can expect. Very, very useful.
Did you get that working?
I'm getting
yet.
the problem right now. The problem is, I told you the website and the RASP calculation. I am using the two computer. I mean the two operating system. It must be only one. And when you click the track, run the command comes from WRF and create this chart. So I have to spend another couple of weeks or something to implement this on my computer. That's it. A question?
What's the website?
www, my name is CAZCast, castech.com/operator RASP
We'll just post it on the.
Post it on the. Why don't you just post it to the club?
Okay, I will post once again.
Can we get the admin to put it up in the top of the permanent,
I think we
sticky,
can.
not just a message, because it'll get.
Yeah, I think we can get it put up there. I'm gonna talk with George about it.
Okay.
Yeah, just put it in as a sticky.
And I have the, you need it, I can do that.
So Kaz, you're currently using an i7 computer and you're running virtualized machines, 5 or 6 of them. Part of the problem with running this right now is that you're using that machine for other functions in the other virtual machines simultaneously. Are you running out of compute power? If you had a dedicated machine, would that help?
No. From 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I'm not using so much the computer. So virtualization is not the issue. Instead, unreliable environment sometimes shut down. That is the problem.
So,
I am working for the Intel Xeon Phi processor, which has 1 teraflops of the computing power. So But using the Xeon Phi, I don't expect so much speed up.
In this computer, is it your home or is this one of the ones in the database?
My office.
Your office.
And I got the permission to use it.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'm saying is if you had a dedicated machine that you could put at home or on the internet somewhere else, you don't think that would work?
The problem is the power shortage, or for example, Amazon EC2 is always on, right?
Yeah.
And
they would mirror your site so that if one system went down, it would be available on a second.
in case of Amazon, probably online, how can I say, moving is going to be done. So always on and always.
So what you're saying is that you're still experimenting, you want to complete the work in the next couple of months, and then if everything is working, the club may put it on Amazon.
Yes, that's the one idea. And even for the next couple of months, let's try on my computer. And if it is enough reliable, go ahead.